For those who have tuned in to have a listen and a watch of what we're doing here, so welcome. My name is Laurie. I'm the founding director of Teachers and Nurses Mortgage and Finance Company, which we affectionately call TNMF. And we are here today with the lovely Joe from Own Home. And he's down in the Melbourne studios here. And Joe, you brought the Sydney weather with you, hot and humid for this time of year. We've also got my business partner, James. And we're here to have a bit of a chat today about who we are, what we do, and our relationship with Own Home.
Communities. So we
Yep.
know post-COVID, across Australia, it's been huge problems in terms of mental health issues that have arisen.
Mm.
Communities are seen more divided than ever. One of your fundamental missions is to help rebuild these communities now, post-COVID era. As a business, how do yourself, James and Laurie, aspire to do so?
Yep.
Well, we take a couple of different approaches, and I'm sure that I might miss one or two, so Laurie can pick up on
Yep.
those. But
Yep.
um, we take a couple of different approaches when it comes to what it is that we do for communities. So obviously we have our donation schemes, we have our foundations that we like to try and donate to, we have grants that like to try and set up for people that we will effectively donate out every year or every 2 years. And then aside from that, we also have things like family fun days. So going back to reorganizing old community events, getting people from that community together, so small businesses from that community, and bringing that community back together and seeing if we can keep trying to relaunch those every year.
Yep.
We know for a lot of those things, like which are all great initiatives that you
Mm.
guys are doing, we know that essentially money and having access to funds helps drive a lot of that.
Significantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I know that you guys have inbuilt within your business structure to donate a percentage of revenue across to these initiatives.
We
So
do.
can we elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. So yes, as stock standard, we donate minimum of 10% of revenues to whatever charity that the client nominates or wherever they want the funds to go. So long as it's on our panel of selected options. If the loan, however, originates from a non-for-profit or a charity, then that number goes from 10 to 20%. So we're talking anywhere between, correct me if I'm wrong, anywhere between about 2 to 5 grand a year in about total per client.
So, say for argument's sake, a $700,000 loan would generate from a 10% basis, it's about $466 immediately banked,
Oh yes, that's
plus
right.
trail income,
Yeah,
10% of trail
yeah,
ongoing.
which
And
is
so,
usually not as
yeah.
much. So
So
maybe
if
maybe
five or
six,
ten
seven
people
hundred. Yeah,
chose the same client,
yeah,
the same charity, that would all go across an annual basis.
yeah,
And then we've also got the other component, which is no, I actually have somebody I prefer. Can I bank that and that go as part of a grant at the end of the year to whoever?
yeah.
And I also want to just sort of make clear we're big believers in governance, and so we actually have an independent oversight committee that actually audits what we do
Okay.
to keep
Yeah.
us accountable. When I founded the business, that was important to me because you need to be able to show people accountability that you're not just a clever marketing. It's around actually doing what you said you're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to be clear there for everyone, you guys will potentially donate up to 20% of revenue. So,
Revenue,
so I think
not
it's
profit.
yeah. So I think it's
Yeah.
let's go into that a little bit more, just to be very clear for the audience what that actually means. There's a very big difference between 20% of revenue versus 20% of net
Yes,
profit.
there is, and there's a very simple reason for it. And I had the exact same question when Laurie came to me with revenue instead of profit, and I thought he meant profit.
Yeah.
He didn't. He was very intent on meaning revenue, and the reason for it is we can donate more because we haven't paid any taxes on it yet. It means that we can actually donate a higher percentage, and that therefore translates to a dollar amount being much higher.
Mm,
Whereas profit is after all of your expenses have come out, after your taxes have come out, after everything else has come
mhm,
out, which means that your 10% is actually
mm,
significantly lower than your 10% of revenue.
mm.
So it basically allows us to do more
Yep. And
for the
we're
community.
Yep.
And actually, one beautiful point that we haven't really gone into is thanks to house prices now being more expensive and higher, it means that we can actually in turn donate more to charity.
So there's actually some good
It's
that's
the
come out
it's
of
the
rising
only
prices.
perk
Yeah.
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 that apart from for people who already own property and
Yeah.
their property is skyrocketing, the only other perk of properties becoming gradually more expensive over time is the fact that we can actually give more back in turn because they're linear.
Mm,
The more expensive a property becomes, the more we end up donating anyway, even if the margin remains
mm.
exactly the same.
Yeah. And we've done the
So
numbers. It's
yeah,
sustainable. There's more than enough
that's
to go
perfectly doable.
around.
Yeah.
And our guys, and we went to our team and said, "This is what we want to do." Um, I remember one of the reactions was, "Wow, this is what we're doing," and I'm like,
Mm.
"Yep, this is what you're going to be a part of." And then when we started thinking more about it in terms of our not-for-profit, because we want to work with the not-for-profit sector as well, and it's a case of, well, these guys, they're making enormous contributions to community. We'll give them more. And I went back to the guys and I said, okay, 10% is coming out of company revenues, not the split that's going to our
Yeah.
guys.
Mm.
That this new 10% needs to come from you guys. And each
Yeah.
one of our guys accepted.
Accepted
Yep,
it.
Yep.
we'll earn 10% less because we are committed to the vision of the business.
Doing that. Yep.
Yeah.